Hello and welcome to my preview of the second week from the English Premier League. Let's kick things off straight away with the first game at Craven Cottage featuring Fulham versus Arsenal. Now I just watched Arsenal defeat Fenerbahce 3-0 and to basically guarantee themselves a spot in this year's Champions League. And following on from that, I really think that Arsene Wenger and the players, they've lifted after their earlier defeat against Aston Villa last week, and I think that they can get the win. They'll be a bit too strong, even though Fulham do have good creativity up front in Berbatov, Tarat, and they're solid defensively with Hangeland and Stelkenberg. I just think Arsenal overall around the pitch will just be too good and too strong, and I'm predicting Arsenal just to get over the line 1-0. The second game is Hull City versus Norwich. Now, Hull City got dominated in the previous game against Chelsea. Second half, they were really good, really strong, solid defensive setup, and going forward, they were okay. Norwich, that was arguably one of the best games last week versus Everton, and they managed to get a draw. This match, I really think that Norwich will be too strong for Hull, and they'll win 2-1. The third game is Everton versus West Albion Bromwich at Goodison Park. Again, Everton drew last week. Roberto Martinez will get his players lifted, even though Fellaini and Baines had been bidden on by Manchester United throughout the week. A cheeky little bid from the champions there. I think Martinez will get his players up, get them raring to go, and I think they can easily be able to dominate West Albion Bromwich, who haven't had the best start to this season, and I predict that game will finish Everton 2, West Albion Bromwich 0. The next game is at St James's Park, or the Sports Direct Arena, whichever one you want to call it, featuring Newcastle and West Ham. West Ham played fantastic football last week, really good possession-based game as I mentioned, and Newcastle were very, very weak and looked just a bit jaded against Manchester City, didn't have the quality. This game I think is Newcastle will lift, Pardew will get them up. He doesn't want another debacle like last week, getting thumped 4-0, and I think this game will end in a 1-1 draw. The next game is at St Mary's, Southampton versus Sunderland. Southampton, what can I say? The new boys from a couple of years ago getting promoted. Mauricio Pochettino's got the players really up and about. They got a good strike force in Lambert and Rodriguez. Midfield is solid with the reinforcement of Victor Wanyama. Defence, they bought Dejan Lovren, they got Nathaniel Klein there, Luke Shaw, remember that name, and really just a really solid young and upcoming team against Sunderland, who the team's really been put together this pre-season. They haven't had much time to, figure out where everyone fits, the tactics, the techniques, and I think it'll just take a bit of time for Paolo Di Canio to get that team up and about and make sure that they stay safe in the Premier League this season. Having said that, I do believe Southampton will win, and they'll win quite comfortably 2-0. The next game's at the Britannia, featuring Stoke City and Crystal Palace. Stoke City last week, they were relatively unlucky against Liverpool. They got dominated in possession, as you'd guess, but they had a couple of good chances from set pieces, as they usually are so dominant in that area. Crystal Palace lost, arguably, a really spirited game against Tottenham Hotspur last week, and I think if Ian Holloway can get the guys back up again, get that fighting spirit and the hunger, they can easily get an away win here at the Britannia. And I'm predicting they will do that, and they'll win 2-0. Now, this next game may be a bit controversial to the Liverpool supporters, but it's Aston Villa versus Liverpool at Villa Park. I saw Aston Villa last week, totally dominant against Arsenal, and I also saw Liverpool beat Stoke. They won 1-0. It was a little bit unconvincing. However, having said that, they had a lot of the possession, a lot of the statistics they dominated, but they only won 1-0. So it leads me to believe that if Aston Villa can play the same way they did, counter-attack and really pressure the Liverpool midfield, the front three of Benteke, Agbonaho, and Andreas Weimann, they can really, really harass and pepper Simon Mignolet and the Liverpool defence. And that leads me to believe that Aston Villa can and indeed will win this game, and they'll win it 3-1. That may may not be a good idea in having said that, but that's what I personally believe. The next game is Cardiff versus Manchester City. What can I say? City were looking as dominant as they had a couple of seasons ago when they were champions, and I really think they can continue that run of form. They may have to buy maybe one more player, a defender, preferably a centre half, to cover for Lescott. And probably, if they got a really good one, it could partner Vincent Kompany. And I think they can go to Cardiff and get the win. Cardiff not as strong, obviously, as Manchester City, and that quality will be shown. So I'm predicting Man City to win 2-0. The next game, the second last game, is at White Hart Lane, featuring Tottenham Hotspur and Swansea. Spurs just got the 3 points. AVB was adamant that his team played well enough, but in my opinion, they just got the 3 points, and Swansea were basically dominated by Manchester United. And I think this game will show that both teams are actually quite even, and it will finish a 1-1 draw. That score kind of depends on what happens to Bale during these next couple of days. Will he go over to Real Madrid? And if in fact that happens, will Willian and Eric Lamela from Roma, the people that are rumoured to come to Tottenham Hotspur, how will they fit in? And that's a story that I'll discuss in my next couple of videos. Now, finally, the last game, the big one, Manchester United versus Chelsea, Old Trafford. Newly appointed Manchester United manager David Moyes against Chelsea fan favourite Jose Mourinho. I think this game will bring goals, as simple as that. But both teams' defences are solid, but when you look at both teams going forward, Mata, Hazard, Torres, Lampard, and you got Rooney if he plays, Van Persie, Carrick, Giggs. Both attacking forces for both teams look really, really strong, and I think it'll be a game of goals. Having said that, just because it's Manchester United's second game under David Moyes, I think that they will just get edged out by Mourinho, who will want to strive and show everyone, including the Chelsea fans and Premier League teams and the teams that they face in the Champions League, that they are in fact a world-class team and can compete on all fronts, and I think they'll win. I think they'll win 3-2 in a highly, highly entertaining and a high goal-scoring match. So guys, that's my predictions wrapped up in this video. I'll be back, you see them on the screen. I'll be back in a couple of days' time with my review on all the games. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the games for the second week of the Premier League, and I'll see you very soon. Goodbye.